Hi, Love Bug. Welcome to the Naked Yoga Podcast. This podcast is all about incorporating bits and pieces of yogic philosophy and spirituality into your everyday life. I'm your host, Nika Okoli, a graduate student at Columbia University's Spirituality Mind-Body Institute. I'm also a yoga and meditation instructor at a little studio called Core Power Yoga. You may have heard of it. My mission here is to help you nourish your mind, body, and spirit connection. Each podcast episode will begin with a guided meditation, followed by the core of the episode pairing a spiritual concept with science. Lastly, each episode will end with a mindful closure, providing you with actionable steps you can do after listening to deepen your mind, body, and spirit connection. So, without further ado, let's get right into today's episode. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Naked Yoga Podcast. I am a little all over the place. I did not realize that today was Wednesday and that I needed an episode to go out today. So I am recording with you guys right now in real time, and I'm going to upload this as soon as I'm done. But welcome. I hope everyone is feeling well with this kind of like chaotic weather we've been having. I'm based in New York right now, so I'm on the East Coast, and it's been a lot of rain, then a lot of sun, then a lot of rain again, then it's 75 and sunny, then it's 55 and chilly and rainy. So I hope everyone has been able to find their center and just adjust to this like kind of crazy weather that we've been having. For today's meditation, I was thinking we can just lean into some gratitude. So I'm just going to guide us through some easy breathing exercises and invite you to reflect on some moments that kind of made you smile today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So wherever you are, I invite you to begin to soften and begin to relax. Just noticing the natural rhythm of your breath as it moves into your body and out of your body. And we'll begin to head into our meditative state by taking 3 breaths all together. So wherever you are, begin to empty with a little vibration, a little sound, an SH. Shh. Big inhale in and let it go. Twice more. Inhale and exhale. Last time. Inhale and exhale. Continue to breathe just like you. Begin to soften your jaw, allowing your tongue to release from the roof of your mouth, letting your shoulder blades melt down the length of your spine. Finding any movement that allows you to feel more comfortable in this position. Finding any movement that allows you to soften a little bit more into this position. And just begin to feel the support that you have right here and right now. Maybe it's the support of your seat or the emotional support that you have from all the people that love you so, so much in this lifetime. And even, the universe, the higher power. You are loved beyond measure. And I want us to take a moment to just tap into some gratitude today. So I invite you to begin to reflect on your day and begin to reflect on 3 things that made your heart smile. It can be as little as the first sip of coffee that you had in the morning, or it could be big. Maybe you had a really nice conversation with someone you loved. Or maybe you just took some time for yourself today and journaled and went on a walk, or even taking the time to listen to this podcast. whatever it is for you, just bring to mind 3 things that you're thankful for now. I now invite you to hold on to how you feel when you envision those 3 things. And I invite you to keep the joy and the gratitude going and think of just one thing that you can do with the time that you have left today to spread joy and spread love in your life. Maybe it's making a call to a friend or donating money to one of your favorite charities, or just taking some time to treat yourself, maybe going to bed early or taking a bath. Whatever it is, just think about how you can continue to spread that love and joy and gratitude energy to others and to yourself. All right, my loves, if you want to take some time to reflect and journal, I will invite you to pause the podcast now. However, if you're ready to get into the core of the episode and to transition back to homeostasis, I will lead us out with 3 more breaths. So wherever you are, begin to empty with a vibration, with a sound, with an SH. Big inhale in. And an exhale out. Twice more. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. Inhale. And let it go. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, my loves, how are you feeling? Every time I lead a meditation, I just feel so happy, like in bliss and just like so in love. I mentioned in our meditation, like your love beyond measure. And that was something that I wrote to myself in my journal this morning because I just feel like just so in love. Like I just feel like I have so many friends that love me. My family loves me so much. I just feel like I just feel so loved, and I love that I get to spend this time here and chat with you guys. And like, how lucky am I? I can't believe it. I don't even know if I mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I am actually moving to DC at the end of the summer, and I'm pursuing my doctorate in psychology. So I'm gonna have to record a new introduction one of these days, because I am going to be a doctoral student, which is just beyond, like, I still can't even believe it. I can't believe this is my life. Pinch me. I'm dreaming. I am just so in love with the life that I live. And I'm happy that I get to share this with you guys. And I really can't believe it. And things have been so like I was stressed about moving from New York to DC, and things have kind of just been falling into place so beautifully. And I kind of want to talk about that maybe in a different episode, but I'm just happy, and I just wanted to share that with you guys because I love you guys so much. Anywho, I wanted this episode to be like the foundation of the next week's episode. So in today's episode, I want to talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, because when we think about yoga here in the West, we often think about the asana, which is the physical posture practice, which is the 3rd limb of yoga, which is great, but the first 2 limbs are a little bit more important. And we don't really talk about that like yogic philosophy inside the yoga studio space, just because, you know, a lot of people are coming for a workout or they're coming to feel good, and they're not coming for a lecture on yogic philosophy. Even though, like, if you come to my classes, I do try to like weave it in there as I can with like my intentions and like our ending meditations. I do what I can. All right, so the first limb of yoga is the yamas, also referred to as like the inner observances. So it's kind of like universal moral commandments, like how you should live your life. And the yamas are actually broken down into 5 more things. But for now, I just want to give you guys a clear outline of the 8 limbs. So the first one, the yamas, the inner observances, your moral standards, how you should live your life. The second limb of yoga is the niyamas. So this concept is referred to as like self-purification by discipline, but essentially they are the outer observances, like how you live your life outwardly. And this also is one that is broken down into about, I believe, 5 different subcomponents, and we'll dive into those a little bit later. The next one is the asana. This is the postures. So a lot of people in the West, myself included, when I first came into yoga, I thought of yoga as just like a physical practice. And that's what the 3rd limb is. The 3rd limb is the physical practice, but there are so many other limbs. So the 4th one is the pranayama. Pranayama is breath or the life force energy. And when you're in a yoga class, I hope that they are bringing your attention to your breath, because that is the foundation of any physical asana practice. Really being able to control your breath, being able to maintain these asanas, these postures, these different positions that life puts you in, and being able to have a smooth, steady breath and an easy mind. So the 5th limb of yoga is Pratyahara. So this is like kind of like a withdrawal. So not withdrawal as in like drugs or anything, but withdrawal as in like kind of shielding your senses, like kind of being in the world but not of it is a great way to kind of look at it. Like being able to kind of clear your mind from everything that's going around you and just really being able to turn inward. So it's like withdrawing your senses from the outside world, closing your eyes, closing your ears, focusing in on your breath, and just really taking in like what you are kind of tuning into in that moment. The 5th limb of yoga is Dharana. So that is concentration. So being able to concentrate in that moment. And I don't know if you've noticed, but they kind of scaffold upon each other, right? So in Pratyahara, you are looking to withdraw from the outer world, and by withdrawing, you're able to have this dharana, this concentration. That's what happens when you're able to kind of close off from all the chaos that's going on around you. The next limb is Dhyana. That is meditation. So once you're able to withdraw, concentrate, you're now able to enter this meditative space. So that is frequently why I like to start my meditations with the breath and with kind of grounding with the breath to kind of quiet our minds and get away of that like internal chatter, and then kind of really focusing in on our dhyana, our meditative like absorption. And it is believed that once you have kind of settled into all of these 7 limbs of yoga, you will be able to reach samadhi, which is a state of bliss, super consciousness brought by a profound meditation in which the individual becomes one with the object of its meditation, or the universal spirit. That quote is actually directly from Iyengar, which is Light on Yoga by Iyengar. I'll leave that book in the show notes, but honestly, it is a great book if you're interested in learning more about yoga. Okay, so with those 8 limbs kind of explained, I hope you feel like you have a little bit more of a more holistic sense of like what yoga is. And now I want to kind of transition into deep diving the yamas. So if you recall, the yamas is the first limb of yoga. And so the yamas are made up of 5 like little sub mantras, if you will. So ahimsa, that's the first one. That's non-violence towards yourself and others. So not doing violence. Satya is the second one. It's truthfulness. I absolutely love this one. I think Satya is really great. I believe it may have been Amanda Gloria Valdez that broke it down to me this way, or I don't know. We're all kind of connected to each other, interbeing. But Satya, I love it. I say this in my class a lot. Like when your thoughts and your words and your actions align, that is Satya. That is the meaning of like that truthfulness that they like are aspiring to in the yamas. And I feel like it's so challenging to really think about that in a realistic way, because even in my experiences with other people, I'm like, wow, like this person literally tells me one thing and then their actions tell me another, and crazy how people live their lives this way. I really try to like focus on just myself and being truthful with myself. Like, who is the person or the woman that I want to be? How do I speak about myself and my future aspirations and like what I want to do? And what am I doing today, tomorrow to get myself there? Honestly, just focusing on today. We should just focus on the present moment. And so really like that can be super, super scary. Like even today I was telling my friend, I was like, wow, like I just finalized the dates for my Brazil trip. I have been dying to go to Brazil for so long, and my friend just moved there and I can stay with her. And I'm like, okay, like all signs are pointing to Brazil. I have Brazil on my vision board. It's been a thought for a long time. I've been talking about it for a long time, but I'm still hesitant to pull the trigger on buying this ticket. But I just need to close my eyes and do it because I know it's going to be good. But it's so hard. Like, even when it's something so positive and beautiful in your life and something that you really want, like there's always like that little bit of like fear, of uncertainty, of the unknown, of like scarcity mindset, like that can hold you back. So that's why I think Satya is such a powerful limb when it comes to the yamas and the yoga practice, because it's like really thinking about like what is it in your life that like you think about and you talk about, but you don't put action behind it. Like, for example, maybe you want to have like a better relationship with a family member. You think about calling them and you talk about wanting to build a better relationship, but like, are you reaching out at the end of the day? Are you picking up the phone and calling that person, or are you sending them a text? Like stuff like that too. And then time goes by and time is so short and it's just kind of crazy. Like even in our day-to-day lives, there's so many things that like we think and we say, but we don't do. So Satya, aligning your thoughts, your words, and your action. All right, moving on to the third yama, asteya, that's non-stealing. So it's so interesting too, because non-stealing can be interpreted in like a bunch of different ways, obviously. But the way I like to think about it is like not taking more than you need from any person, any environment, anything, right? I think especially as we're wrapped up in this capitalistic society, I do not like capitalism that much. We have this desire to constantly own and hoard and even other people's time. Like, how many times have I called someone and I'm like, this could have been a text message, or this could have been an email. Or like, I'm just like having so many big emotions that I feel like I need to unleash them on someone in a way that they don't really deserve, right? Like, I'm stealing someone's peace because I am not at peace. Does that make sense? So that is essentially asteya, non-stealing. Like, don't rob the experience of life from someone if you are not able to kind of like face life yourself. And I think that often happens when, you know, people have like insecurities or anxieties or fears or worries. Like, we often times kind of unleash and vent onto people, and that is kind of stealing their peace. So asteya is like non-stealing, even honestly from our environment. I mean, don't buy more than you need, don't consume more than you need, like non-stealing. Stealing an aspect of like hoarding, or like just taking more than what you need. All right. I hope that makes sense, because y'all, I looked at asteya, I saw non-stealing, which is like the English translation, and I was like, let me refer back to my notes. So I literally pulled out my notebook from my yoga teacher training, because I was like, I need a little refresher on this. So I hope this is helpful for you, because it's already been super helpful for me. So the next topic is Brahmacharya, which is the conservation of energy, or the right to use energy. So essentially, this means being mindful of how you expend your energy, kind of similar to non-stealing, right? Like, you don't want to steal your energy from yourself. You don't want to overexert yourself in a cause that will not bear any fruit. Like, pick and choose your battles. And that reminds me of that quote that we talked about last week. Was it last week? I think it was last week. What was it? Like, I know it. I do not need to explain. Like, it's enough. And I believe that's from Manifest Your Destiny by Wayne Dwyer. Like, when you're at peace, when you feel enlightened, you don't need to argue with anyone or over explain to anyone. Like, you know it, you know your truth, and that's enough. And I also feel like I've been coming to this realization as I have been like just living life and getting older. It's interesting when you come across people who don't want to live in reality, or essentially like asteya, like they say one thing and they do another. And sometimes you find yourself in a moment of potential conflict where you're like, oh wow, like I know what you said to me, and I know what you're doing now, and now you're trying to manipulate the truth or make it seem like I made this up. But like, I know what you said to me. You know what you said to me. I'm not going to argue with you. Like, there's so much power in just being like, okay, no worries. Like, just leaving the situation alone and just moving differently. And I think that's kind of like what the Yamas are essentially trying to help you do, like how you can live like a yogic lifestyle off of your mat. Like, once you kind of realize that like this person is like stuck in this spiral of like manipulation and lies and like low-key kind of abusive, like you realize you can't help a person who doesn't want to help themselves, and you can't help a person who has a fundamental lack of morals. Like, there's no sense in arguing with them. And I feel like when I was in my early 20s, if that situation would have happened to me, I would have been like calling, screaming, like throwing things. And now I'm kind of just like, okay, moving on. Like, I don't want to associate with you any longer. And that there's honestly so much power in that. There's so much power in Brahmacharya and conserving your energy. When you realize someone is not worth the battle or the time or the argument, just leaving it alone and walking away and like leaving that person in the past. honestly is the best thing sometimes. So the last Yama is Apagara, and this translates to non-attachment. So not being attached to like physical possessions or even people, like understanding that the only thing constant in life is change, and that people will change, your relationships will change. Like even me, I'm like, oh, I am leaving New York, and the way I am holding on to New York with like two clenched fists, even though I know it is time for me to leave in a couple of months, it's that feeling, right? That feeling of being like, no, this is mine. Like whether it is the city that you live in or the car you drive or the apartment you live in, whatever it is, especially as a New Yorker. See, here I'm back at it again. As a New Yorker, I find that people are so attached to their cars. Like whenever I go home to Michigan, I'm like, can we just like leave the car and call an Uber? They're like, leave my car here. Why would I leave my car? Oh my God, I can't leave my car. I'm like, come on, guys. It's just a vehicle. But it's that attachment, right? That attachment energy. And I'm guilty of it too. Like I literally just identified as a New Yorker, even though I know I'm on my way out. I'm very much still attached to New York. So making that conscious effort to enjoy things in the present moment while you have them, but then also being able to let them go with grace and not clinging on to things longer than you need to, it is something that can really transform your life. I was just reflecting too earlier with a friend. I was like, wow, like I could have avoided so much heartache in one of my previous relationships if I would have just left it when I originally had the thought to leave it. I like kept trying to make it work, didn't want to give up on us, like all this stuff. And I was like, wow, like all of this heartbreak, like it just got worse and worse and worse and worse because I was so attached and I didn't want to let go. So non-attachment energy, Apagara, is not always a bad thing. Essentially, it's a good thing and a really good way to like kind of live your life and the yogic lifestyle. So those are all the yamas. Those are the inner observances. So like how you should live your life on the inside. Now let's transition to the niyamas, which are the outer observances and how you should live your life on the outside. There are 5 niyamas as well. The first one is satya, purity. This is essentially leading towards cleanliness. So cleanliness of your body, but then also cleanliness of your living situation, your living space. And it's so funny too, because I was having a conversation with another friend, and it's just like, yeah, like when my apartment is cluttered, when my apartment is dirty, like I feel like I can't think. Like I'm cluttered, I'm dirty. And so even like I was so sick the other day, guys, and the moment I felt well enough to wash my hair, like everything just started changing for me. It's like I don't know, like do other girls feel like this? Like literally washing the past out of your hair and like coming into like a new week or like a new day. It's like I'm a brand new person. Like everything that happened with that old hair, I don't know her. It's like I'm a new person when I wash my hair, especially when it's like the big shower day and it's like you wash your hair, like you shave, you like, I also like to like do my nails, like do the body scrub, like you're a new person. Satya, stay clean, girls. So the next one is Santosha, which represents contentment. So just being content in where you are in life. Also, like another word for this is just like expressing gratitude for everything that you have in life. That attitude of gratitude truly brings like just more blessings your way. And I honestly, like, I cannot say this enough. Like, I just feel like I am so loved and I'm just so happy and blessed. And I still cannot believe that this is the life that I get to live. This is insane. Like I am just so grateful for everything that's going on right now in my life. And I know there's like things that aren't going my way and things that I wish could have been better. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I think I mentioned this before. I might have. I don't know. Guys, I applied to 8 doctoral programs and I got rejected to 7. Like literally the last school I heard from was an acceptance, but at that point I had already written it off. Like I just thought I was going to get rejected, and I was just like looking ahead to like what schools I was going to apply to next year. So like sometimes even when like things are kind of gloomy and not looking great, like God, the universe, like Allah, like really can come in the 11th hour and like change everything. So like just maintaining that gratitude and like keeping that positive energy even when things aren't looking great is santosha. Like it's contentment. It's like being okay with where you are right now, even if that's not like where you want to be forever, because honestly everything in this life is temporary anyway. The next niyama is tapas, which refers to like that inner heat and transformation energy that's inside of you. So really like the discipline to turn your dreams into reality, to turn your thoughts and your words into action, like that inner fire that you have inside of you that's like pushing you to like the next level of yourself. Like that is your self-discipline. That's your inner fire. I love that like kind of analogy too, because it's like a transformation energy, right? Like so many things like go into fire, into pressure, and like transform beautifully afterwards. And like that's what the tapas kind of refers to, like having like the awareness to push yourself to that like next level of being. So that is the tapas. And so the next one, I think we're on 4. Yes. So the next one is Sivadyata. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I'm like, someone please help me with my Sanskrit. Sivadyaya. So this refers to self-study. So being able to reflect on yourself and like your spiritual growth, your personal growth, your physical growth, like just being able to take account into like how far you've come. And this can be on the mat, right? Like, yes, like now I can hit this asana that I couldn't do when I first started practicing yoga. And now I'm such a better like postural, like asana yogi. But also it can be like, wow, like I was faced with this really stressful situation, like when I was 22, 24, 25, like 28, 29. And now I approach that same stressor just like in a different way. And I find like that is like the most powerful way to self-study Siddhavadya, and like keep like those journals and those reflections and just like noticing like, oh wow, like when I was in my early 20s, like if this would have happened to me, I would have broken down and like cried. And now it happens and I'm like, LOL. Like, you live and you learn, and you just get better with time, you know? Like in our society, we have such like a fear of aging, but I just feel like I am so proud of the person that I am now. And I hope you feel the same way. Like there is a point in time where like younger baby version of you was like dreaming of living the life that you live right now. And how powerful is that notion? Like, there's just so much to be grateful for. So I hope you have like a reflection practice, like a journaling practice, because that just really helps you live, you know, your niyamas and your yogic lifestyle. And so the last one that I really, really struggle to pronounce is Ishvara Pratyahara. Ishvara Pratyahara. And this is surrender, which is honestly probably my favorite of all of the niyamas, because it's something that I find that I've just been really, truly leaning into the past like 3 years, honestly. Just knowing that like there's something out there that's greater than you, that has a better plan than you, and you need to just like let it let it go. Like I realized that like if my life, like what I wanted for myself when I was 25, I I would be miserable if I had like lived out that dream. And like, I know that now sitting here at 25, but like at the time, like when that dream was falling apart in real time, I was like, like not okay. I was unwell. And now I feel really well, because now I know, like, even now as I struggle to embrace apigara and have like a non-attachment energy to like my apartment, to the city that I love, it's like, I know this move to DC will be great for me. I know this next chapter will be great for me. And I just need to lean on in and get it. And that's something that I think we all can learn a lot from. Like, it's so hard to let go of something when you have your heart kind of stuck on something else. And also, this really brought to mind a really great quote. Hold on, let me find it because I want to read it for you guys. Okay, I found it. So this is from Grace Unfolding, Psychotherapy in the Spirit of the Tao Te Ching by Greg Johansson and Ron Kurtz. And the quote, it's on their chapter on emptying, and basically just like a book for psychotherapists to be more spiritual and better psychologists. And the quote is as follows: when they think they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know they don't know, people find their own way. How powerful is that? And I think that truly embodies everything that I was just saying about surrender. When you are stuck in what you think you know, it's impossible to open up to the guidance of the universe. But when you embrace the very true fact that you do not know, you can begin to become like a co-creator of your life with the universal intelligence. And I think that is a really great place to end this episode of the podcast. So let's go ahead and transition into our mindful closure. For our mindful closure today, I would like to invite you to take some time to reflect on the Yama of Satya and to think of one aspect in your life in which you can better align your words, your thoughts, and your actions, and to take a meaningful step towards aligning yourself tomorrow, or actually maybe today, depending on when you're listening to this. I am recording this quite late, and this episode is going out quite late. I'm sorry, but if you're listening to this in real time, definitely tomorrow. But if you're listening to this at your leisure, then I would say do something today. All right. I love you guys so much. Make sure you rate this podcast and do all the things. And I will see you guys, or I will talk to you guys next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Naked Yoga Podcast. My name is Nika, and if you want more content from me, you can follow me on Instagram or subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nourish Nika. This is a completely independent podcast. Yes, I write the scripts, record, and edit the podcast all by myself. Therefore, any support you could give, like a share, a comment, maybe leaving a little review on Apple Podcast or wherever you might be listening, would go a very long way and warm my little itty bitty heart. Thank you so much once again for listening, my love bug. I will see you in the next episode.